Time for us now to get into a conversation. We're talking about the proposed law on demonstrations. Part of that law is proposed by Professor Kioria Kindiki, and he said those proposals will go to Parliament. But then there is another by the Member of Parliament from Mary North, that is Geoffrey Ruku. Now in studio, I have the Member of Parliament for Gatundu South, that is Gabriel Kagombe, who joins us in studio. Of course, I had called two members of parliament because the Honorable Kagombe is from the UDA side, while the member of parliament for Embakasi West, that is Mark Mwenje, is from the Azimio side. And he was in studio actually about 30 minutes ago, but then he's just sent in a text again and says, unfortunately, I've been summoned at DCI right now and will not be there. And that means then we continue with the show with the Member of Parliament for Gatundu South, and of course as we wish the Honourable Mark Mwenje all the best, of course as he appears before the DCI. Mheshimiwa, karibu sana, and thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Asante sana.
Karibu. So we'll start with obviously the events of today and what we have seen vis-a-vis the law that is being proposed. First of all, your views about what we have seen across the country today.
Well, I might just say I've seen what has happened or what has transpired in Nairobi and parts of the country, largely on social media, because I was busy handling my plants and my maize in the constituency. I had a lot of things to do in the constituency. I was busy trying to create a situation because I know things are not good. And the economic situation is really not good. Our food security situation is bad, and I was trying to do something about it. And I thought that maybe the best thing we'd do is not to come to ruin property, and I went and engaged myself in economic activities. But I want to say this. What I have seen today, and I want to say it from the get-go, Article 37, which has been quoted by everybody who has engaged in Mandamano, guarantees the freedom to picket and do all those things, but it has conditions to it. And it says that it must be peaceful, and the participants must be unarmed. I want us to discuss what being armed means. If they came to this studio with a lighter, with an intention of lighting and burning your shirt and your clothes, and therefore setting you ablaze, I'm an arsonist, so I am armed. If I come with a stone with an intention of hitting you, if I came with a pen with the intention of, jabbing you in the eye, I am armed. So what it means for you to be picketing and armed and peacefully must be properly interpreted and must be followed to the letter. Because we cannot continue exercising the prerogative of the harlot, power without responsibility, that we cannot be held to account for our deeds, our actions, and everything we do is just because there is a slight mention of our freedom and rights in the Constitution. And by the way, just so you know, Article 33 prohibits the rights that are granted in Article 37, or rather gives the stoppage.
There are limitations.
Gives limitations. At what point do you stop what you're doing? And it says that the right to freedom of expression does not extend to 1, propaganda for war, 2, incitement to violence, and 3, hate speech, or 4, advocacy for hatred. That 4 may constitute ethnic incitement, vilification, is based on any ground that is discriminatory specified in the contemplated and in Article 27, 4. What I saw today, especially on the superhighway or on the expressway, was vandalism. It was war. What is war? Anybody who wanted to move from point A to point B using that road could not use it. Because there was vandalism, there was violence, there was everything anarchy. So what I say is, I would respect everything. I actually said that maybe if anybody wanted to participate in Maandamano, I saw something happening in Mombasa where there was 2 cops. I don't, like I told you, I was actually, and I mean it.
Busy.
I was busy. I've been very busy. I'm a busy man, as you know me. I'm a busy man.
Right.
But in between, I find time to come here and talk about 1 or 2 things. But I saw in Mombasa, and I think it was in Mombasa, I could be right. There are 2 police officers talking to a group of people who were chanting, and later on they proceeded to peaceful demonstrations. Now that is what Maandamano should be. And if I were the president, and if I were the external world, or rather the people from other places, I would want to know exactly why those people have left home to go and see that. What I saw early in the morning, especially on Luthuli Avenue, because I heard people saying that honor, I could tell it was Luthuli, and someone was atop a building, or maybe 2nd or 3rd floor, whatever floor it was, and taking photos and saying, look at what they're doing. And people were literally engaged in anarchy, stealing, vandalism. In fact, it was akin to what happened in 1982. The only thing is that there was no attempt to come to KBC where we are.
Okay, let me ask you a quick one, Mheshimiwa, because what Raila Odinga has called for are peaceful protests. What we saw on, at the expressway, or what we saw in Kitengela, can it be directly attributed or linked to Raila's call for peaceful demonstrations?
There isn't any other way of doing it, because, first of all, the Constitution and the Act that allows you to be on the streets says that you must notify the police. If you and I today decided to picket against anybody, we have the procedure that we must follow. So you go and notify the police. You even ask for security. That is the procedure. That you come and say, I'll have this demonstration on this day, and I expect you as a police to protect me and escort us. And that is what happens in normal democracies. What happens after that? You say what it is you're picketing about. You have notified their people. There's a whole procedure. Now what has happened, and what we have seen, and what we've been treated to, is that Raila Odinga has come to the news items and said, we shall be undermanering. Meaning, first of all, it is not properly called for, and number 2, it has not been peaceful. But I will tell you something. There was peace in Nairobi yesterday. There will be peace tomorrow. What does that tell you? There's only anarchy when Raila calls for it. We have seen, and we have rules of nature. Raila Odinga has called for Maandamano, calling them peaceful. But I can tell you something. You would plow through the arguments of Raila Odinga, and you will never brush against any facts, because everything he says is a lie, is propaganda, it's just incitement.
And that is according to you?
That is the truth. That is the gospel according to St. Gabriel.
St. Gabriel Kagombe. Now, let me ask you, when you look at some of the proposals, and first probably would want to ask you, as a member of parliament, Article 37, because you cited it, and of course referred to limitations in Article 33. From where you sit as a member of parliament, the Article 37 as framed, every person has a right peaceably and unarmed to assemble, to demonstrate, to picket, and to present petitions to public authorities. Do you think there's a deficiency in the article, in that article, so much so that members of parliament need to now come up with a subsidiary legislation?
It's not a deficiency. The Constitution is a very top-line document. So much so that it says that members of parliament shall legislate or shall create legislation to this effect. So the Constitution is such a top-line document that must now, after that, get Acts of Parliament, and we even have other legislation that is left to be to other organs of government. And for everything that we find has not been properly used, then it is only proper to now put proper legislation and say, this is how it should be done. For instance, if it says you have the right to picket, to demonstrate, it does not give timelines. Can you demonstrate in eternity?
You can.
According to, if we're to argue in the court, it is now open for the court to decide whether you can demonstrate in perpetuity, because you can decide to demonstrate every day for the next 365 days for the next 5 years. So you decide that you demonstrate outside State House or outside the office of the president. So what are we doing? So we must, like other democracies, create legislation and legal ways that actually make sure that everybody is protected. Because if I own a business outside the office of the president, and you decide to demonstrate outside there for the next 56 days, and I pay licenses to the city council or to the city county, do I have recourse? Because my business will definitely be, I mean, maybe I do a bit, whatever business I do, it will be affected. Do I have recourse?
You don't.
Shall the county now absolve me from paying the county fees? You know, there are many other things. There are many other things other than just what is, and that's why I said that the Constitution is such a top-line document, and that's why we need the court to say that now this law or this Act of Parliament is in line with what was envisaged in the Constitution. And now what we're saying is, and I am in line completely, and I support. In fact, it's only that he did it sooner than I did. I would have brought it to Parliament, and I congratulate Honorable Rocco for what he has done, his efforts. He's a gentleman. He's a man that we remember in this country for being so patriotic and thinking about people who are making. You know, by the way, allow me to have this. This is very personal, but allow me to say it because I'm here. I woke up today in the morning and I drove to the office from my house, and at some point I said I thought I had a problem. I didn't know which day of the week it was.
Because of all the roads were clear?
The roads were clean. I was going to the office at about 7:30, and usually there will be so much traffic. Then I realized, then in my head as an economist I asked myself, what is happening? Is the economy dying? Then I realized no. Then I told myself, then I actually realized that yesterday the economy was fine. Everybody was moving. But today there was nothing. Nairobi was dead. Completely dead. So we must have a way of creating legislation that says, gentlemen, it's okay. You can picket. But where can you picket? If you are annoyed with the president, does it mean that you can come and picket in my farm? Can you come and picket at my shop in River Road? So this is not regulated. When we say picketing, when you say demonstrating, I may not be welcome. You come and picket at my shop in River Road. So this is not regulated. When we say picketing, when you say demonstrating, I may not be welcome. It may not be welcome for you to come and demonstrate in my shop or in my shopping mall. And we have shopping malls that are owned by individuals. You may come to my shopping mall, and we have no legislation that says exactly where you can picket. Maybe we even have to have a corner,
A square.
or a street that is delegated, that is left specifically for that purpose, so that we know where you can picket. It cannot be. I cannot be in Gatundu minding my own business and tell me. I saw something in Gilgil the other day, and business people were saying, we do not want you to demonstrate here. We understand that the standards of life life is difficult, but we don't want you to demonstrate at our businesses. So, at what point do you respect the person who does not want to demonstrate? And by the way, it may not be someone who supports the government. It may be just someone who's tired with life and is saying, I may be an Azimio person, but I don't want you to demonstrate at my shop.
Let's talk about that legislation in a bit, Mheshimiwa, because what we see here, the job of protecting what you would say demonstrators and ensuring that the demonstrations are orderly is the work of the police. What the Honorable Ruku is trying to do is to shift obligation from the police to the organizers of the demonstrations.
No. You have it wrong. The onus of providing security in this country at all times is and will be and will remain to be a function of the executive, executed by the police. All right? Internally. It should be executed by the police, and that is the work of the police. Now, what Honorable Ruku is saying, and I have just mentioned it, or rather alluded to it, that there is what we have known earlier to be the way to ask for maandamano or to picket. And by the way, do you know this is not the first time that anybody has demonstrated or picketed?
Yeah.
We saw the other day the members of when business people in Nyamakima were dissatisfied with the previous government and how the taxes were happening and how they cleared their goods into and everything that pertained to clearing of goods and taxes. They came to Parliament, they came to the OP, they came to ODP, and they picketed, and they were in their thousands. But there was nobody who was hurt. There was no interaction. They did not engage the police in violent activities. And they notified the police the right way and in accordance with the law. So what Honorable Ruku is saying is that we shall provide you with the security, but can you at least follow the, because it's a writ of law that he who comes to equity must do equity, and he who comes to seek equity must do so with clean hands. You cannot come and ask for the police to protect you now, but burn their car tomorrow. You can't have burned a police car in the morning and in the evening ask for the police to protect you. You can't pelt stones at the police officers and ask the same police officers to protect you. So you must decide where you are. And we must stop this hypocrisy. We must decide that we're Kenyans, and we take a side and we take it and follow it. And we must do what we say, and we must say what we do, and we must put our mouths where our money is, or where our monies are, and we must be honest men.
When you, this legislation, like you said, of course, some of these demonstrations inconvenience people, but then when it is put as a rider in this proposal by the Honorable Ruku, that for the organizers of demonstrations, for it to be approved by police, that the people who are likely to be affected must approve, isn't that taking, giving with one hand and taking with the other?
No. Let me tell you something. I would have loved to use the expressway today. I would have loved to use Uhuru Highway today. I would have loved to use Mombasa Road today. And it is within my right. By the way, I could even sue the government for failure to defend me to use what has been created using public money. How do you derive me of a right to use what has been created using public money. How do you do that? And you deny all of us a right except yourselves who are burning and demolishing everything. So we must be asked, we who want to use the road tomorrow, if you want to demonstrate on the expressway, on Mombasa Road, we are Kenyans, and we need to know. You must come to us and ask us, do you have a problem to allow these people to demonstrate on this road? And we say, okay, it must be a good cause, and because it's a good cause and we're Kenyans, we shall allow it. Let me tell you something. On the expressway, a week ago, there was a marathon. We were asked, and we said it's okay. You can use the expressway. You can do your marathon. You close it.
It's for a good cause.
It's for a good cause, and we all allowed it. In fact, a lot of us gave money towards that cause. And we allowed it. That is public participation. And the people who are affected, who are the users, and we are registered as users of that road, said it's okay. Often at times, I participated in a run on Langata Road the other day with the Karen Hospital and the Deputy President.
Yes.
We walked, and before it, because it's an annual event, it was communicated, and there was request for memoranda if you have a problem with it. So you must give us time and tell us, when you're demonstrating, you want to come in andamana at my building, at my shop, at the road that takes me to my shop. You know, we joke at times. There are people whose road, I mean, you may just look at a road, but a road means livelihood to people. There are people who use matatus. The driver of that road, the driver of that matatu that applies that route, did not go to work today, and the children are hungry. So you must, I mean, are you telling us that you have more right than we do simply because you are agitated by a government, and we have no right to use the amenities established using public funds in this country?
Let me ask you, Honorable Kagombe, assume the shoe was on the other foot, that it was your side.
It has been
against the government.
Oh, you forget.
Hold on.
We have just removed that shoe. It's not even a year.
Hold on a minute. If it was you on the other side,
would
you want such a proposal?
I am saying the shoe was in our foot. It's not even a year. We were the people who were supposed to be demonstrating. We were the people who were called thieves. We were the people who were vilified by the sitting government. We were the personally, I was called by the sitting president, and he told me to stop campaigning in my constituency. But what did I do? Did I call everybody and told them to come and be andamana and burn tires in Gatundu? No. We were civil about it because I knew that my right end where your rights begin. Because if you do not want to participate in Maandamano, then I should allow you to pass. What happened today? We saw gentlemen, people just driving down Bagathi Way, and someone just pelts a stone at your windscreen. Jesus Christ! You were just minding your business. You were just going to work. Someone was just taking a child to hospital, and then you pelt a stone at their screen? What are you telling us? That as long as you feel that this country that belongs to the two of you, and we do not belong to this country. And let me tell you something. And this is not a threat. But there will come a time, if this persists, that we shall be tired.
Be very careful.
The peaceful of us will be tired.
Okay.
And when we get tired, I don't know what will happen.
Of course,
I cannot guarantee that will be as peaceful as we have been.
I hope those are not insightful.
You hope that we shall be as peaceful as we have been, but I cannot guarantee. And by the way, nobody has monopoly of violence. And I want to... No, nobody has. Only the government should have the monopoly of violence. And even the government should not have any violence against its citizens.
Honorable Kagombe, for a prime time show, I mean, let's adjust a bit of civility.
No,
but just a bit.
We've been civil for too long.
Hold on a minute.
Kioria.
Let's speak about this proposal. It says it forbids carrying banners, placards, or even speeches that could be seen as inciting hatred. My question is that a definition of hatred in this proposal? Because when you say something that is seen or deemed as inciting, that you cannot carry placards or banners that are seen as inciting hatred, is that a definition of hatred?
You must decide what you want. You called me here on this studio the other day after I just said a statement that was very soft statement.
You were summoned by
such a soft statement. I just made a very soft statement about schools. And I was called by NCIC and everything because I was told that the direction I was moving could, you know, incite. And I went, we sat, we argued it out, and they said, okay, that's what you meant, all right. And I came and explained what I meant. So you're telling me for us to ask, we are asking for us to ask for accountability as you make your statements, as you do your placards. You're saying that we're asking for too much? It cannot be. Honorable Rocco is so spot on. In fact, I think he's the most patriotic person I've seen this year. And now, I support his bill 100%, and we're going to pass it. And when it becomes law, it will be followed. And when you don't follow, but you know, the most unfortunate bit about the people on the other side of the law, well, on the law of the law, as I say, will not be there to argue and put forward their thoughts about it, as they will walk out and be in the streets, while we'll be busy debating such issues that we're deciding, issues of national importance. We're asking, do you think this is too much to ask? Then there will be nobody against it, and nobody will air any views against it, because there will not be. And therefore, that is taken to be the role of Parliament, as we shall take it, and it shall be the majority of the people in Parliament who will have passed it. And we're going to pass it. But I will tell you something. Forget the majority or the power of numbers that we may have in Parliament. Sincerely speaking, when you go to Kisumu and you hold Maandamano for the whole day, and you lead a city as dissolute as what Nairobi was today, you ruin everybody's life. You ruin everybody's businesses. And you know, we must stop this notion that there's a certain community that does business and another one that doesn't. Because are we saying that there's a certain community that contributes to the economy and a certain community that doesn't?
All of them do.
Everybody contributes to the economy, and everybody must benefit to the economy equally or equitably. Well, I should have said commensurately, but I avoided that and I skipped it.
So that NCIC does not summon you after this?
No, I skipped it intentionally. but maybe, you know, maybe we should consider. We should probably have a conversation in Parliament and say, should we have a commensurate division of revenue? You know, as we have a commensurate, you know, shall revenue
topic
division,
for another day.
Topic for another day. But I'm saying, every community and every person in this country is entitled to public funds equitably. All right? And therefore, what we say is that you cannot stop people from doing business, because when we say we're collecting revenues, and in any case, for heaven's sake, when you wear a sofuria to shield yourself against rain, as you continue hitting it with a spoon, and walk into the streets Farmers do not wear sufurias. Farmers don't wear umbrellas. Farmers just go out there and farm. So when you say that you want the, and at times, and allow me to ask this, John Jacob.
Very quickly,
Yeah. When we say that we want the government to bring down the price of unga, are we saying that we get to the same scandalous situation we found ourselves last year, where 8 billion shillings was spent and there was no single packet of unga in the supermarkets or in the shop or in the kiosk? When you say that you want low prices of unga, what are you saying? Are you saying that the government opens floodgates for people to import maize into this country and therefore kill our employment and therefore kill our prices of unga? What are you saying? Are you saying that the government opens floodgates for people to import maize into this country and therefore kill our employment and therefore kill our and contribute to a negative balance of payment? What are we saying? Or are we saying on this side? Because there are two ways of saying it. Are you saying that Kenyans contribute? I wish we were demonstrating in Galana Kulalu and saying that we want maize planted at this. I wish that the sufurias we had were hose, and we just, and I mean hose, H-O-Es, not
the one for farming.
The one for farming.
Go ahead,
I wish we meant to, that we want this place to be planted with maize. I wish we were asking for cheap and easy, and I mean affordable seeds and affordable farm inputs to make sure that we have Galana Kulalu producing for us. I wish we were demonstrating in Busia and in Kitale and telling those farmers, please plant maize for us. But then what happens is that people keep asking, are we your punda? Sisi ni punda zenu? Sisi tupande mahindi nyinyi muandamane Nairobi? No.
That's it and done. Lastly, looking at the situation we are in, because you saw the escalation today, is there room, from where you sit, as a member of parliament from Kenya Kwanza, is there room for a conversation that probably will bring an end to this?
There will be no conversation.
There will be no conversation. Good. Thank you. Member for Gatundu South. That is Gabriel Kagombe, and of course discussing the proposal, the law that seeks to that is to regulate demonstrations in the country, and that is not the only proposal. There's yet another by the Minister for Interior, that is Professor Kioria Kindiki. Will it see the light of the day? Obviously, that will be the biggest conversation in the coming days. What is important to note is that this conversation, we had invited the Member of Parliament for Embakasi West, that is the Honorable Mark Mwenje, who is obviously from the opposition, that is Azimio from Jubilee Party. He's actually supposed to be the replacement of Sabina Chege as the Deputy Minority Leader.
Not supposed to be.
But of course, that is subject to approval by Parliament. Time for us to put this conversation to an end. Thank you very much for joining us on Prime Edition. Have yourself a fantastic night. God bless you.